Hello.
Powered by
Yo,
Riverside
it's
FM.
Faye.
And Martha. You are listening to Black Girls Still Dreaming, New Orleans edition.
Welcome back. We are in New Orleans right now, New Orleans, Louisiana,
Yeah.
enjoying the beautiful, beautiful heat and giving gratitude to the people of this land.
Yes. I feel like a big theme for us and kind of why we felt like we wanted to record now was just like being able to experience all of the beautifulness of the people of this city and the history and those who came before and those who are still here as culture bearers.
Mm.
It's so important. It's so beautiful. We're actually here with a BIPOC group. And so I feel like that also makes a world of difference, like just being around other people of color and
Mhm.
expressing gratitude. So
Mhm.
yeah. So do you want me to give some context to or do you want to
Yeah,
speak about
we're gonna kick off this episode with a poem. We were just at Congo Square, listening to the beautiful, beautiful sounds and drums. We'll,
like drum circle?
oh yeah,
Yeah, the
it
drum
was the drum
circle. And
circle.
so we were invited by an elder, Dr. Denise.
Mm,
She is lovely. She does so much incredible work in New Orleans. And she invited us to join this drum circle.
yes.
And it was beautiful. We were out there for hours just dancing, praying, pouring libations, like all of the thanks to those who came before us. And it was just a really beautiful and like ancestral environment under these huge willow trees that have been here longer than, some of our lineages, it feels
Mhm.
like, Um, so yeah, so
Those
that's,
trees bear witness to so much.
yes.
With that being said, we're gonna open this podcast with a poem by me that I wrote during this time we had at the drum circle. It is called Gratitude to the Willow Trees. And here we go. Sweat so good it heals. As I feel each drop come down my face, I feel it shedding. As I sit here in this powerful place, I allow it to change me. With each drumbeat, I can feel my heartbeat. I can feel my ancestors' heartbeat. I can feel the people of this land changing me. As I feel the wind on my back while my glasses slip down my face, I take in the sage that Mama Jamila is spreading. I feel blessed to be here, sweating out the toxins from the past, but keeping the knowledge. I feel changed. As I sit under these ancient trees, I take in their wisdom. I ask for guidance, protection, joy, abundance, stability, and adventure for me and everyone I so love. Surrounded by so much melanin, it heals. To be hugged by an elder from NOLA feels like the warmth of the sun when winter finally breaks in Minnesota. To be in a city where the elders are so alive, feet so light, ready to fly and be free. I feel safe here. I feel connected, seen, witnessed, and loved. I bottle these words, these feelings, and give gratitude to this willow tree. I will bring this back home with me to my people, to my ancestors, and everywhere else I shall travel. Thank you, Lola. Ashe.
Ashe, thank you. Oh my goodness. So Faye had just read this to me and I was like, we have to record. I think like it's just so beautiful to be in that space and to like you can feel it even in your words. Like that's not nothing. Like also like my girl's a poet, okay? Y'all, these are the receipts. But yeah, no, I'm just so grateful for Faye being here. So I've been here since, well, I
Tuesday,
guess,
right?
yeah, so it's been like almost a week and I'm gonna be here for 10 days total. Faye is here until tomorrow, like afternoon, evening.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, it's been so beautiful and so fun.
and gorgeous.
And like we were just having that conversation and I just wanted to bring that up again of like black joy and
Mm,
like joy. I see like blackness as joy and joy as blackness, right? Like there's
mm.
just something inseparable for us.
They're synonyms.
And like I just think that it's so policed in Minnesota and like I'm sure here to an extent, but like New Orleans, I mean people here have described it as like it's its own place, like outside, like it's like almost like pulled out of Louisiana in the
Mm.
sense of like, you're just given so much permission to be joyful.
I feel that. I also feel like, I don't know, I remember that first day we were just walking around and everyone was just pouring into the street. I was just like, I feel like back home we only give ourselves permission to do that once a year. And even then, it's like, I don't know, I feel like the reason I feel like I can't enjoy here is I see people who look like me doing it.
Right.
I can also just feel the like ancientness of this place. Like
Yeah.
I can feel the people's history. I heard it in the drum circle. I hear it when the trumpets were playing last night at the Nile. Like I just hear it. And even the hospitality, like I just like this really is a place of community. And
Mm-hmm.
like I think for me that's really what I want to take home. That like the way these people and this place and this music and this land has made me feel doesn't need to be in a silo. You
Yes.
know, and
Like
like
you can create that yourself. Like we can be those like I've been just having more thoughts about this idea of like culture bearers and the people
mm,
that make sure that like our children, our children's children, the children of the community, right? Not necessarily like those who come from our womb, but like the children that come after us. Like, what does it mean to make sure that they have culture that they can carry proudly?
hmm and it also even too like outside of the youngins, like the elders, like watching those elders like get jiggy with it,
No,
like their feet were
exactly.
so light. I was like, I just want that for my grandma. Like I
Hmm.
feel like I see her come to this country and like that joy has left her,
Hmm.
and I know she would have gotten down in that
Yeah,
circle, but there's no one creating that space or giving her that permission.
right.
Not that we need permission, but
Yeah,
I just I don't
creating a
know.
venue.
Yes,
Creating a venue, really.
and honestly, it makes me want to connect back to my family, like my like ancestral family,
Yes.
because I feel like when my mom immigrated here, 'cause she came when she was 16.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot was erased,
sure.
and so
Yeah,
being here with like all the richness, and like she was even teaching us Yoruba, like
yeah,
in the circle. I was like, I don't even I don't even know who to call out to. I think we're saying these
yeah,
things.
right.
But yeah, I just really appreciate it. And I appreciate that this trip, like the people who are running this trip, I love that it's around rest and restoring and reclamation.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like we're always waiting for permission, but we don't need permission. And like I feel like you were saying, we're always living in our heads. And I'm
Hmm.
like, why don't we just live in our
In
bodies?
our bodies. Yeah, something we've talked about is just being embodied and like honoring our emotions and all of the things that we ourselves police like in ourselves. And, we don't want to be too emotional because we're in spaces that we will be harmed if we are. And so it's like it doesn't come from nowhere. And like that's a conversation I've had with some of the other fellows in like our program. Like it doesn't come from nowhere, this idea that we have to like shrink ourselves. Like we didn't create that. Somebody else put that on us. And so I
Mhm.
think reclaiming that in a very like embodied way. I also am just like really thinking about like you saying like connecting with your ancestry. Like I literally shout out to my brother.
Oh yeah, he sent you a screenshot.
Yeah. Like I was just like there like when there's a part when we're like pouring libations and like honoring our ancestors where you call out the names of those that came before you. And I just feel like something that I think is really common, especially for those of us who are first generation,
Mhm.
is like we don't even know those names. Like we don't know those who came before us. We honor them and we honor the traditions best we can. Some people don't, right? But like a lot of first gen people, like that is something that we tried our best to do, but we don't have the names, we don't have the language. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that to me, I am so there's a few things that I feel like I've gotten out of this trip. Like Faye's a poet, I'm also a writer. Um
She published, y'all. Published.
and like I think that I've been trying to find that story, right? Like I want to start writing my book and I think part of it for me is like there's a quote, I think it's maybe a James Baldwin quote, but I went to a local black owned bookstore called Baldwin and Co. And it was beautiful and I went for an event, but they have a quote on the wall that's like read, 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 and when you can't read anymore, write.
Mm.
And I think like this for me is like the translation of that is like obviously read, right? Like read work that inspires me and like take some of that pressure off of like the I need to write now, I need to figure it out now. But also like the read to me feels like tending to the soil and then the
Mhm.
writing is like the plant that grows out of it. And I feel like I am in the season of like, I want to understand who are the people that came before me. I want to understand like I want to know their names, like I want to know their stories, and like that to me is like tending to that soil, and like that is part of like my growth that I feel like I'm going through right now of understanding who I am, why I am, you know, and knowing, I mean, I know to an extent what I am, right? Like I'm Liberian, my family's Ghanaian, I'm Sierra Leonean in there, like West African.
Shout out your brother for sending that map.
Yeah,
Your
literally.
23andMe.
No, literally. Yeah, shout out BJ. But yeah, I think it's just so like that's where I'm at. So I feel like that this trip has brought me on that path further and like just clarifying so many things. Like our heads get so fogged up and like when we
No,
have
literally.
this opportunity to like rest and reflect, like you're just like, whoa, like everything was muddy as hell. And like now I'm like, oh, I see what this experience was trying to tell me, or I see what this, I don't know.
No, you're on I feel you, the vein you're on. Like for me, I feel like I've been intellectualized to survive. So like
Mhm.
I know how to work in my head. I know how to work out a problem. Like I know how to like survive. But
Yeah.
like I don't want to just survive. And I feel like this place is like you can thrive and still like
And not have it
be
figured out.
exactly. And I feel like sometimes being in this country and being in like black bodies, especially black femme bodies, you're like, dang, like I gotta be strategic because like
Mhm.
I don't know like where I'm safe and where I'm not safe.
Yeah.
But I feel like this place is like create the safety inside me and
Yeah.
share that with others. Like, you know, when it's like read, 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 right? It's like archive, archive, share, share.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to share that knowledge. I want to share that history. Like, honestly, I'm glad we pulled out the podcast, like, recording. Because I'm like, honestly, this needs to be archived and documented. Like, the
Exactly.
fact that we didn't know our ancestors, I'm like, that's a testament to the fact that we need to archive our stories
No,
now. Because
exactly.
I damn sure want to have my kids not know who I am, you know?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like my kids, I want them to know who they are, where they came from. I think like you said, like your mom came here at 16, my parents came at like 21.
Mhm. They're
Like
still babies.
they just you don't have you're not thinking about, how do I hold on to these seeds for my children? Like you're thinking about survival.
They think about housing,
Right,
food,
right.
shelter,
How am I gonna
healthcare.
make it in this entirely different world? And so I give them so much grace. Like I don't think our parents intentionally were like, they're not gonna know,
They
it
were
very much
busy,
is like they were just trying to and I mean, right, the dream that our
and they
parents
had us.
have for us. Yeah, and then they had us, and the dream that our parents have for us is for us to thrive in a way that they weren't able to. And I think because we're the children we are, we also want them to thrive. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter like that we're in our 20s, and they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s,
Mhm.
like they also deserve that. And I think I'm feeling that way. Even like I wrote my mom a Mother's Day card that was essentially
Mhm.
like, I want to know, like, I want you to honor what you wanted when you were my age. And like she said, it made her cry because there's just this socialization as parents, as mothers, especially when we talk about being in black bodies, black
Mhm.
femme bodies, where it's just like you give of yourself so much because that's what you have to do. And it's like, what if there's another way? Like, what if there's a world that we can create where we like,
Or
you
from the
know,
full cups.
someone on our trip
Mm.
said something like it's this push and pull in like capitalism. Like we we push to like change the conditions, but we also like live in the conditions that we live in. So it's like, yeah, a lot of us will have to work 40 hours
Mhm.
for a lot of our lives. And let's see how we can create ways that we don't have to do that. And like, and so it is this push and pull. And like, I think for someone like me that like wants the answers now, wants everything solved now, like it's really important to look at it that way, where it's like, it's not going to be like this forever. Um, and, like, even if it was, like, we can create better, we can create more, like, within that.
Also, we can experience joy in the moment. Like,
Right.
not to bring up sinners, but like they literally had the time of their lives before everything went to chaos.
Before everything went to
You
hell.
know, and I think in even the 60s and the 70s and even the 1920s, like the flapper era, they were doing their thing.
Yeah.
And then the Great Depression hit. I just think like history is cyclical and
Yeah, it's so real.
I think we're cycle breakers and cultural bearers, and I think the best way to do that is honor ourselves and then pass that knowledge to our sisters and brothers and moms and dads and that grandma who her feet flying faster than faster than she can.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. And like just we had another like cultural elder who Queen Rusi with the Guardians of the Flame in New Orleans, and she was just talking about her history and the history of their organization and like how they centered children and like them being that those guardians of the flame, guardians of their culture. um and I think that's just so beautiful because she was also talking about like how she loves herself and how she like after she passes, like she doesn't care if her sons are mad about it. She's releasing her nude photos, like, and like she, you know, is a
As she
cancer
should.
survivor and um just so much joy despite hardship and hurricanes and like so many, and I think that's the biggest thing that like I think is important to take away. Um that like joy can exist in the chaos, joy can exist in the hardship.
Mm. That's why I was like, I released the pain by taking knowledge.
Yes.
You know, I just
No, that was a bar.
bar, you know, because I was just walking around the city too, and I was like even just like seeing how close the buildings are together, like you can tell this is like a streets filled with history, with stories
Mhm.
with people, and I'm like, this is an old ass city, and I'm like,
Yeah.
there's wisdom, and I'm like, I'm trying to be like, I was telling Martha my hand of Fatima or hand of Hamza, no, it was
I think it was your hand of Hamza.
my hand of Hamza broke because I broke right as I landed. I'm like, no. At first, I was like, wait, is this a bad sign? And I was like, wait, no. I think I'm meant to be open to what I'm about to experience, and I'm
Mm,
so glad I was. Because
yeah.
I just like even just drinking that watermelon juice
I know.
that they were selling at the drum circle, I just
Yeah.
feel clean and cleansed. And then watching those young kids like box like they were
Yeah.
safe. It was a consenting box.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were boxing
It was like joy and like what did Yoni was saying? It's like joy on one side of the drum circle, and then on the other side is resistance. And I was like literally
wow.
duality.
Yeah.
And I just like I don't know, like I just want to go back to Minnesota and share all this with my friends. I want to share it with my mom, and then I want to recreate it.
Yeah, I want to recreate
You
it
know,
too.
and I also want to learn my own history because being here and witnessing another people's history and other people's land,
Yeah.
and regardless of them not being a small or not, I felt that kinship,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I want to know what that looks like
Same.
from my grandma.
Same. And I told Dr. Denise, Mama Denise, like I want to be a healer and like that. And part of that process, and I guess going back to the read, 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 write kind of thing is like my version of reading and like that process of understanding like what are my gifts related to healing? What who are the healers that came before me? Like that is what I need to know. And that's to me like that's the journey I'm gonna be on. Because I want to know who came before me and what I can continue. Like there's probably so much that has been put down because it had to be that I want to pick back up. And so yeah, I'm really excited for that. And I don't know, I'm just like I also think it's really interesting. It's funny because we're in New Orleans where everyone like gets fucked up, which like we did drink, to be clear. Like we did go out.
We wanna okay, so if you're ever here, I'm gonna drop some places. Go to Blue Nile, go to the Oz, go to where did we go? What was that place? That first night. Where with the
Like by the swamp
yeah, by the
Bourbon.
swamp, yeah.
Yeah, there was like okay, so
It
like
was Bourbon Street, Frenchman,
yeah,
and
Bourbon Frenchman. Um
it was beautiful, basically.
Yeah, I mean, like, so many places to go. But yes, like, but it's so funny how like this is the podcast, like the, you know, Two Black Girls Still Dreaming, Take NOLA episode is like starting out with like us just being so reflective. But that's so us. Like I think it's like it's duality. Like we shake ass and we also like
Soak in the lessons.
right and like reflect. Like I think that's what being in your 20s is, like being a black girl still dreaming
No,
is.
literally.
I wanna drop this while we're still here. Can we do that?
Honestly, I'm down. Yeah,
Yeah, I
because
just
we
like
contain multitudes too. Like,
yes.
like let's just be so real. Like, I also just feel like even in the like we had this beautiful day. We've had these really reflective conversations. We're pulling knowledge. But then at night, it's like we're going out and like just even people pouring into the street, joy, dancing.
Yeah.
Every other building is jazz. If it's not jazz, is on piano. If it's not on piano, is like straight like just like da, da, da,
Yeah,
da, da, da.
trumpets,
Dude,
brass,
I
like,
felt the trumpets in my soul. I just like felt the joy. I felt it down my spine. I like,
mhm.
and then also just like everyone is oozing desire. It's like there's
Yeah.
no shame. I feel like there's a lot of shame sometimes in Minnesota, and to be
Yes.
here surrounded by everybody who's just going to their natural like heartbeat, their drum beat,
Yeah.
and there's no shame. There's just
I
joy.
also just want to name that, like, there's not. I was telling Faye that I had to import my man because
You
there's
did
just
import Chad from the south.
because like literally like we were talking about like everyone in the South is fine,
Everyone
and
in the south is
I think it's
beautiful.
literally like
Honestly, gratitude for all the beautiful melanated people that I have made eye contact with, that I have seen, that have shown me kindness, showed me
yeah,
around.
the
That have been
accents too. I love a Southern accent.
literally.
Like literally, I
Uh,
just
I find myself picking it up as I like talk to them longer.
yes.
Also, shout out everyone who undressed me with their eyes. I appreciate you. You are amazing.
Yeah, you said I'll be back.
I'm coming back.
No, like, yeah, no, it's so real. And I think like that is the thing, like, I don't know, Minnesota. Like
And not
I
to shit
think
on Minnesota.
not to shit on Minnesota, because there are some fine people like we're there.
I,
You said not for long.
I need to move to
Well,
the south.
and honestly, that's another thing, like I've been thinking about too, is like what does place at home look like when like it's just like because the people from here will be like, I mean, depends who you ask, but I know like someone we met was like, oh, there's like nothing to do here. Like there's like nothing going on. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Like we're just like
Overwhelmed
there's
with
right,
options.
there's too much to do. But I guess if you've lived here your whole life. So it's like also this concept of like I feel like everywhere I visit, I'm like, oh, like I went to San Antonio. I was like, oh, I could live in San Antonio. And then I'm like here and I'm like, oh, I could live here. And like there's probably places I feel more strongly, whatever. And like, or like we want to live in the DMV at some point, right? And
I want to live in this.
like, yeah, I just think it's just really interesting. And I think that's the lovely part of like also being immigrants is like, I mean, your parents are like your mom's here and like my parents are here, but like my parents are planning on moving like
Yeah,
back to their country.
they're trying to dip to Liberia.
Yeah, and like
They
to
go
me, I can live anywhere in the US. Like it's like I don't really,
or
I
outside of
feel
the
like
US.
I mean, right. And a lot of people are held to a place because of family. And I am to an extent. Like I have in-laws and I have my siblings and all these but like it really is like I like thinking about the possibilities of place and like visiting a place not knowing if like I would end up living there, a few years. And I mean someone who drove me, an Uber driver, he was like, "Yeah, I think he said he lived in Minnesota at some point, but he was like, "Yeah, I lived other places, but I ended up back here, like, I just couldn't find anywhere better." And, like, I
Mm.
think that sentiment too is like, yeah, just like if we were qualified to give you guys any advice, we can pretend that we are. Take it or leave it.
I love the disclaimer.
Yeah. Literally take it or leave it. But I would say, like, travel if you can. It doesn't have to be a long time. It doesn't have to be like whatever, but like travel
It's
and
accessible
like
to you. Get out, get
yes.
outside.
And to just explore and like look at because I feel like sometimes we're just like where I am is good enough. And like even people will travel and be like, yeah, but I never like move. And I'm like, I mean, I get that, especially here's the thing, like if I was like culturally rooted in New Orleans, I would be like, yeah, I can't imagine leaving, or like if I had, like, cultural roots, like, if I was indigenous and lived in the Midwest, I probably wouldn't leave my community,
Mhm.
but, like, if you wanted to, you're allowed to, like, that's the thing, it's like
You don't need permission from anyone but you.
right,
Mhm.
these things can look different ways. You are the only person who needs to give you permission, as Faye said, like,
I
yeah.
I also just think too, like, I don't know, as someone who's been having the privilege to travel a lot more recently, I just feel so changed by every place I go.
Mhm.
And like I just never want to close off the opportunity to be changed by something I've only experienced. So I just feel like I don't know if I gotta live there or if I'm not gonna live there, but I know I have to go and experience it at least once.
Yeah.
You know, I'll do anything once. Well, not anything, but you know.
Yeah. No, right, right. There is an
There's a
asterisk by
line.
that. But yes, I know I'm the same way. I'm like most things I'll do anything once. Yeah. Yeah.
I know. Okay. No, I just want to say I really love the nightlife here.
Yes, I was about to say, do we want to get into like demon time?
I mean,
Because we started wholesome. Listen, it's still wholesome.
I mean, we just have duality.
Exactly.
And who says demon time is a wholesome?
I was about to say, it's still wholesome. I fully believe, like, I don't know, everybody, okay, if any of my family listens to this, they're gonna be like, what the hell? Sorry, in advance. What the hell, y'all? What the hell, Barry? But, like, literally, literally stimming. But fuck, I'm forgetting what I was gonna say.
You said if anyone in my family hears
yeah, if anybody in my family hears this, sorry. But like, oh well. I feel like, listen, the way that we demonize. Okay, there was a whole conversation about like voodoo and hoodoo and all of these cultural traditions and how they were like morphed into something that was like demonic and like take like even like things like not splitting the pole and like all of these things that we
Not
do
splitting the
daily.
what?
It's not splitting the pole.
Oh yeah.
And like all these things that we do daily, like those are rooted in like those traditions. And so like in the same way, it just has me like re-envisioning. And again, like I grew up like really Christian. And I think I still consider myself Christian. I think. I do. But
Pending.
but I think like something that I've just like this idea of like the way that we demonize like lust and like sex
Pleasure.
and pleasure and like
And
that
joy.
and like that is rooted in joy. And I think like reclaiming that is like something that I'm exploring and just thinking about.
No, reclaiming that joy. Also, literally, because I'm like, why are you demonizing a baddie for throwing ass? Like, that's not, like, bro, remember that ass throwing, like,
Oh my
circle
God.
on stage, and then the little girl went under the big girl, and they threw double ass?
I
And I was like, what is happening?
I
And,
literally
like, and I mind you, when we go out in our city, like, we're the ones that are throwing ass.
we are the ones,
But
but we
I
were
was
sitting there
gagged.
star fucking struck.
We were starstruck, and I'm just kind of like, wow, like, bring back unfiltered joy.
Yeah.
And like, what is it? Reclaiming my time, reclaiming my time,
Yeah.
reclaiming my time.
Hey,
Reclaiming my. Anyway,
just imagine us throwing ass.
and was because I'm just sitting here like literally my body just goes towards it.
Yeah.
Like it's just literally it feels like the.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's it. And so yeah, like
So
yeah, you want
it beautiful.
Everyone here is so fine. Yeah,
So
everyone here is so fine and like
so gorgeous.
I think
Shout out my friend with the dread.
and you know what's so funny? I was such a good wing woman.
You were Martha's an incredible wing woman.
Like I got you
Shaboozy.
Shaboozy.
No, we won't share that. That's
that's for the Patreon.
I'm screaming.
Oh my God. Wait, if we do a Patreon, we should absolutely do like sex stories.
Oh my goodness.
That would be really funny.
Honestly, we can think about that.
Yeah.
I keep that in a vault.
No, that's real. I mean, I get that.
Yeah. If you read my poetry, maybe you'll get a glimpse.
There we go. Yeah, no, that's real. Yeah, but like so fun. I feel like and I definitely I know I was like, I'm gonna take it easy today. But I'm like, shit, it's already 6:30. I feel like
dinner?
I think dinner and then like
oh my God, you're gonna shit ass again?
Well, I think that's like I kind of want to go to Frenchman like a little bit earlier. Because when were we there? Like 12:30?
Everything closed when we got there.
Yeah, I feel like
12 to 2.
I feel like if we get there like dinner time, like we could go eat. And I wonder if people are still at dinner. I love how we're having this conversation on the pod. But
I think no matter what, food has to happen and the rest can be decided later.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like food, and then if we get an earlier night, we could hear more jazz and like more live music. Like that's a more chill vibe. And like
also the moon looks so beautiful last night. And like also
yeah.
Shout out the man on the corner who grinded me.
Yeah, again,
free Palestine.
Someone else fine.
No, he was high.
Like
and he was Palestinian. I was like, free you, but
yeah, literally, yeah. Shout out Palestine, free Palestine.
And shout out Congo, free Congo.
Literally, in the fact that we were in Congo Square.
Mm-hmm.
Free Congo, free Palestine, free Sudan.
And that's that.
And that's that.
No. How would you like to wrap up our episode? I think.
Yeah, I feel
this is a beautiful episode.
I think so too. I just want to say so grateful to the few people that I've met here that I've told about this podcast, hey, shout out to those two Black girls at that book signing for Kennedy Ryan
Oh my God.
at Baldwin Co. Love you ladies. You were so sweet and fun and just let me gab your ear off. Shout out to all the random people we met. Shout out to gosh, what's his name?
The poet?
Yeah, should we say his Instagram or something?
I forgot his name.
The Young Vagabond, I
Oh
think.
my God, the Young Vagabond.
The Young Vagabond. I can't remember
He
his
was so
name.
cute, and he wrote us that beautiful
He wrote us.
poem.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys ever been
Oh
on
my
Frenchman,
gosh,
but they wait. Yes, we should end with that.
Okay,
Okay,
you
but
should-
I'll give the context.
Okay,
So
yeah.
basically, on Frenchman and probably other places in New Orleans, honestly, but on Frenchman, there's like these poets with typewriters, and they have like this beautiful like template, and they just say, I can write you a poem about anything, and then after I write it, you can decide what, like, if you want it, what you pay for it, basically. So I was like, that's such a cute concept. So they just like on the spot, they say, what do you want your poem about? And I think we said like friendship and
Yeah,
like
joy.
new beginnings and joy and like shaking ass
And throat chakra open.
and rest. Yeah,
and
because we're both like resting and in our sabbatical era and
and
everything.
healing.
And so that, I think that's what we gave him, and then we gave our names Faye and Martha.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we didn't say we had a podcast, but there's a part in the poem that kind of, you'll hear it.
Yeah. He was so sweet too, and I
Yeah.
could just tell he loved his craft and he loved
Yeah.
poetry. And I was just like, I think that's what I also really appreciate about the people of the city is like they're so passionate about the things they care about.
Yes. Yeah.
And it doesn't help that he was cute.
It never does. Okay.
Okay.
So
Would you
do
like
you want
to
me to
read this
read
one?
it?
I
Yeah.
think that feels right because I read the other one.
Okay, so we're gonna end with a poem. Look at us, so much culture.
Yes. Shout out the Young Vagabond for writing this.
Yeah. Okay, it does have his name on it. On
What's
here.
his
Sam
name?
B on Frenchman Street.
Sam.
So, and it's got a beautiful like print of a crane on here. Or he's at a pelican.
Pelican.
Yeah, because that's the
He was
state
quick to
bird.
correct us.
Yeah. Okay, so Sam B on Frenchman Street to Faye and Martha. Every step makes you bounce, booty bopping beats that shake your ass. From the soles of your feet, buoyancy in that booty. Beyond that, staying stationary was not how we became friends.
Mhm.
Can't stop moving, can't stop cursing our enemies, can't stop raising hell in a city of hellraisers. Found your savior in honesty, like not one word, one thought is held back. Not one fight worth throwing hands for will not be fought, and no celebration will be had without booty bouncing music and the poetry behind the microphones.
Mm.
Beautiful. And the fact that it ended with like
The
this
microphone.
comment about the microphones is just like so beautiful. And then we shared our podcast with him. So shout out Sam. Honestly, let's tag you in the post
Honestly,
that we make about this episode. But I'm just so grateful for NOLA. I am so grateful for one of my best friends here
I'm so happy we
being
got
here
to do
with
this
me.
together.
I want to do this with all of my friends. So if you're listening, get ready.
Mm.
We're gonna do a trip.
Get that real ID and passport.
Get that real ID passport, right? And get that money up. We'll find a way.
Honestly.
We'll find a way. But I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. I'm gonna pass it on to Faye.
And thank you, NOLA, for witnessing this. That is all. Good night.
Good night. Have a good night, guys. We're about to go eat.